Hey, what's going on, beautiful people? Once again, so track and measure CTE. So this CTE, it's a program. It's a software that a gentleman, um, actually created several years ago. This is an actual broker from Keller Williams, and he operates in East Coast. Has got a ton of experience. So he put together this really cool tool we call it CTE. It's available to you, and you have to log your numbers on a daily basis. So track and measure. In the early stage of my career, same thing. I was winging it. I didn't even know what track and measure means. So now, 10 years into the business, it's crazy. It's mind blowing. I can not even imagine a life without tracking and measuring my numbers. So how can you reach a goal if you don't even know your numbers? You don't know how many calls you make, how many people you talk to. It's so, it's to have in the real estate business seems like, majority of people, if you ask it, especially a newer agent or people that are not really successful, you ask, and you say, hey, it's easy to be in real estate. They're going to tell you, well, at times you make a lot of money, other times you don't, and whatnot. But I'm telling you, the reason they say that is because they do not track and measure. Tracking and measuring your conversation, track and measure your activities, and you'll find out that your income is going to be stable. You know exactly how many calls you have to make, how many people you have to talk to in order to achieve your goal. How simple is that? It's metrics. So I give you some examples. Nationwide, the conversion rate is about 2 to 3%. So for Zillow leads, people usually are about 3% conversion rate. And on Google pay-per-click, Facebook, Craigslist, and any other lead source, the conversion rate is usually about 1 to 2%. So when you better yourself, you have better skills, you're going to be able to perform better as well. And those are the metrics that you should be getting. And not only that, you're able to see your improvements if you do well or not. Now, I'll give you an example. If I tell you, hey, look, if you make 100 calls per day, or 100 dials, I should say, and you talk to, let's say, 30 people, every 30 conversation, as per Tom Ferry, you should be able to get a deal out of it. If I just share this minimal metric to you, what would you going to be doing today? Try to talk to 30 people, right? So that's the basics of tracking and measuring. We're going to be talking a lot more about tracking and measuring because obviously we mastered it. We have metrics for the past 2 years. I know pretty much agents in San Diego, because it's a different real estate market than being in Detroit, they should be expecting. With that said, I want to make sure we give you a predictable income. And how do we do that? Is just really following the rules that we have set in place. It's pretty easy. Look, it takes you 5 seconds. You go into CTE, and you put, it's going to auto-populate. You put the number of hours you've been prospecting. Make sure you always keep track of how many conversations. What is a conversation? A conversation is actually a 30-second plus conversation about real estate. It could happen even actually at the grocery store when you go there. That will be a valid conversation. Or it could happen with your doctor or your whatever, your dentist and whatnot, and you talk about real estate. So remember, every 30 conversation, you might be able to actually get a transaction out of it. How cool is that? Knowing. So let's start measuring those on a daily basis. Always, every time you finish prospecting, log your numbers. If you have booked an appointment, log the number. 1 appointment booked. If it's a listing, that's it. If you go on a showing, same thing. Make sure you log your numbers. With that said, you'll see in the next 3 to 4 months, I'm going to be able to create a graph for you, and you're going to be surprised. We're going to know exactly how many people you're going to be talking to. We can know how many people you talk to in order to close a deal. One deal. Then if you want to close 15 transactions, 20 or 30 this year, we're going to be multiplying it. And together we're going to come up with an exact plan. It's not going to be what other people do plan. It's your plan because it's based on your skills. So please, if you have any questions, reach out to me or Crystal. And don't forget, track and measure is the key. Ciao.